Is the discovery process done just being exposed to like a topology, or should you regurgitate it, or I guess illustrate or put it on paper in your own way in order to understand it?
Mm,
Does that
great
make sense?
question.
Like
Yeah.
if I saw an illustration of the seven stages or states of a user experience, maybe even if I studied it for a night, does that mean I've done my due diligence and discovered essentially what I should be talking about?
Thank you. All of this process has to be done inside of time, and I'm always conscious of that. So the level of quality that you're going to give is just a choice, something intentional, right? You might just check it or you might really do it. So I'll give you an example. Johnson's, I think it's actually called topology. Johnson's something of medical ethics are like the 4 or 5 questions that you ask when you're looking at a 12-year-old Jehovah's Witness child who's not supposed to have a blood transfusion by religion and their parents are there. How do we decide whether to save this child's life or not? There's actually an ethical framework for doing that. And you're going to be really, really, really diligent. However, you're also against the clock. And so those two things have to come together. And that to me is where that's what I love about this is we are not just looking at knowledge in a vacuum, but we do want to have that. Like you can imagine a doctor probably has had that ethical debate a few times. What do I do in this kind of situation or that kind of situation? And they've adjusted it so they can call on their decision making and principles faster. But if they're Googling it, like, I don't know how to make this decision, that's a little dangerous. But that might be where they're at. And so you have to do that. And they're going to have to figure out, how do we make decisions like this? Like this, okay, I've only got 5 minutes to make this decision. I'm just going to do the best I can. So I feel like there's a full range of possibility. And what makes us effective, and my goal is that we're intentional about our choices in those moments. And that we recognize I am choosing to loosely deploy a framework. I am choosing to act without one. I am choosing to make one up on the fly, or I'm choosing to take the one that I'm supposed to use here and reject it. For example, user interviews. I can tell that what's happening in this exact user interview that I'm having right now over my product, actually, I just really want to go this other direction with. And I choose to abandon the user interview framework and tell them what we're actually trying to do here and get a different kind of feedback. We might on the fly change, but that should be intentional and something that I could describe afterwards to someone else and say, yes, I decided to not complete the user interview process, but instead to contaminate it by doing this because I thought it would do that. And if we can trace our thoughts and our process, then I think we will be achieving practical wisdom.